Okay, so today is the day that I drop the gas tank, or at least that I start doing stuff. And I've already got the car on jack stands. Now, if you don't remember from the last video, this is a 1990 CB7 Accord, and it's been sitting in our backyard for a little over a decade from two different houses. Hasn't run in a while. So, I've decided to start working on it. I kind of want to turn it into like a budget track day car, even though it's automatic. I might swap it out to a manual later on, but it's a CB7 with an F22 EXR, making it a Canadian car right there. So it's kind of rare, gauges in kilometers and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, time to pull the gas tank out. So what you want to do is come over to this side. Oh my god, that's a lot of spiderwebs. They're everywhere. So what you want to do is you come over to this side, take the wheel off, and behind there should be some fuel pump wires. So we'll get an impact gun, pull the wheel off. Probably gonna pull them off on both sides actually, because I do have a set of, what are they, like Rhoda Kashkas or Kashks. They're a staggered set. So these will be on the front. These are a little bit deeper, give the car a wider stance, and these are going to be on the rear because they're shallow. I kind of want to see what they look like too. Let's do that real quick. I was originally going to wait until I got the car running and on a track, but then I just realized how really bad these wheels are. Like, they're legitimately dangerous to drive on, so I'm going to swap these out now. I really wanted to see how these tires would handle on a track, but I don't even trust them to drive down the street. I wonder if they'll actually make a difference in the look of the car. They are pretty similar looking wheels. Granted, the wheels themselves are much larger, and the tires themselves are also much lower profile. Man, that's a tiny little disc, or tiny little rotor. To pull that off, do a disc brake conversion on this car one day. That is actually really small. I wasn't expecting that. Okay, so here's a quick little side-by-side comparison between the two tires. You can tell this is definitely way wider, but also way lower. This car is going to look slammed when I put this finally back on the ground. They're decent tires. They're pretty worn down and unevenly worn too. Looks like they were on a track car. They actually came off of a Miata, I believe. Okay, yeah, so I'm not too sure that's going to work on two different fronts. One being, that looks way too small, and two being, I don't know how the hell they mount this tire to the car. It's definitely got the bolt patterns and everything, but like, oh well, screw it. That's gonna be a later thing to figure out. Let's go back to the other side. It's missing a lug. Almost scared to touch the damn wheel. So nasty. So nasty. So nasty, man. You. Yep, we got a snapped off stud, so that'll have to be replaced. Honda badge just came off. Okay, the first step in the start of this whole fuel pump removal process is to pull out this wire from the fuel sending unit. This is something I don't want to forget because I probably will, and then next thing you know, I will have to deal with a whole bunch of other stuff. So let's pull that out now with both hands. Okay, so that is out. Little clippy is right here, right over there, and next to the other stuff. Okay, so now I'm right underneath the driver's side, and I think underneath this little plastic cover is my fuel lines. So what I'm going to do is pull this off. I don't think it's a 10. And yes, I did get off all the nasty spiderwebs and stuff. Honestly, for a Canadian car, this thing doesn't have too much rust. I'm kind of impressed. I do kind of want to still pull off all these suspension arms and replace all these rotted out bushings and stuff. Look at the power washer again. Well, those are your fuel lines and stuff. Okay, so now to go over the things I'm going to be removing. Number one, I'm going to be removing that main fuel line right there. The one that's hooked on right there. I'm going to take those two bolts off, and then I should easily be able to pull it out. Now, you can see it's a little bit rustier than I expected, but it shouldn't be a problem. But what does make me a little curious, that fuel line itself doesn't look that old. So I'm thinking it might have been replaced by somebody else. And also, if you look, it's not in its little clip. So I'm curious about that. And then I'm going to be pulling off the little thing that goes goes to the actual fuel inlet, or the thing you put gas into. That little bolt right over there, that's what holds it on. And then I think there's 1 or 2 more lines I gotta pull apart that are gonna be underneath that or behind that little main piece. And then it's just 2 bolts to drop the tank. So I'm hoping it is that simple. So let's see. So I got some PB Blaster. It's like a WD-40's redneck cousin that works a lot better. His name is Jebediah from Pennsylvania. I don't know why, but that's what I think of every time I think of PB Blaster. Like Pennsylvania and rust. Okay, so crazy tech tip. If you have 1 wrench on there and it's not doing the job, add a second one for leverage and then yank the out of it. Yes. There we go. The fuel line was a 14 millimeter. These 2 bolts are 10s. So I do think it's kind of crap that this car doesn't have an access port for the fuel pump inside the car. But on the other hand, at least it's not that hard to get the fuel tank out. He says optimistically. There we go. Fuel line is out. Okay, so right there you see the fuel line, and if you look right down that way, you can see the 2 hoses that we'll be removing next. They're just held on using a hose clamp. If I can get this thing to focus, yep, there's one of them, and the other one's right on top. Right there. Those 2 hoses are the ones we're going to be taking off next. And then, okay, so I got those other fuel lines off right there. And there's a reason why all us car guys say if you haven't bled on your car, you haven't worked on your car. Hence the whole blood and metal thing. That is because I am bleeding again. That took like 15-20 minutes to take those 2 hoses off. I am probably going to replace them when I do the rest of the car because they are toasted. Now let's find the fuel inlet filler, which is this one right down here. Looks like another 10 millimeter right over there. That one right there, looks like another 10 millimeter. Once I pull that one off, I should just be able to take the 2 straps on the gas tank out and then drop the whole thing. Okay, that's out. Now we'll put a floor jack underneath the gas tank. Okay, so I have the floor jack placed under the gas tank. I haven't been able to pull off the little fuel filler neck yet. It's actually a lot tougher to get off than I thought. I got the bolt out. I think once I get the tank out, it should slide right off, hopefully. So I'm going to take the 2 straps off and drop the tank. Also, some gas came out when I pulled the fuel lines off, and oh my god, that was rank on a whole nother level. Okay, so I'm currently underneath the car, and you can see there is the 115 millimeter bolt right here, and the other one right over there. And I got the jack on the car. I'm going to take these 2 bolts out and slowly slide this jack down. And actually, I think I did a pretty good job of cleaning out the spider webs. I'm proud of myself. And now you can see both of the fuel pump hangers are dangling right there. So I should just be able to let the floor jack down and the fuel tank should come down slowly. Okay, so that right there is a fuel filler neck. I did have to bend it up and move it around the arm or rear subassembly or whatever that's called. So now let's see if it'll come down. Seriously, still? Okay, so it looks like there's one more hose I missed coming off the tank. Goes back here. It looks like some kind of like charcoal canister thing. I'll pull that off and maybe that'll make it a bit easier. So close, but I'm getting there. Still, really? What else is holding this thing up? Oh, there's another hose in the back. Okay, once I get this little hose out, then it should fall out. Now what?
You want the light now?
No, I think it's coming down slowly.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Got it.
Yippee! So you guys now and
Oh, there's one more wire. Oh, that's the fuel pump wire, that's what it is. Okay, so I have the fuel pump out of the Honda. It was really easy to take the rest of the stuff off, just a few bolts on top of the tank right there. And 2 things. I've decided, well, originally I was going to replace this whole unit right here. But looking at the prices, they were, shall we say, mildly excessive. And because of current events, I am on a slightly more conservative budget now. So I found a cheap fuel pump on eBay, which has some pretty good ratings on it. I'm going to be installing that and rebuilding this fuel pump. And I also found the original OEM gasket to put in here. So once that gasket's in here, I'm going to put this thing back together. Well, I'll probably have to split this video up. It's getting close to the 10-minute mark. And from what I can tell, my audience retention is nowhere near 10 minutes. Anyway, once this is rebuilt, that's going to be another video. I'll just show how I take it apart, rebuild the fuel pump, and stick it back in, and hopefully this car will run. So I can get at least one more car running. By the time this is all over, I'll be happy, because that is a lot more work than I thought. Mr. Drift Car is going to need some transmission love, and I'm pretty sure this car is probably going to need something too. If this car has a bad transmission, I'm converting it to manual. No doubt in my mind. Also, I'm kind of thinking about a 5-lug conversion so I can run bigger brakes. I think it's the Acura TL from 2005 has these really nice brakes I want to put on here. But that's definitely going to be a much later. Oh, maybe not. Put a gas tank in it, get a radiator in it, belts, hoses. Then the car should be drivable. And then yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. A couple proposed mods. One is definitely the rear wheel disc conversion. But if I'm going to convert the rear wheels to disc anyway, I might as well go full out and do the full 5-lug 5x114.3 bolt conversion. Because one, wheels are a lot easier to find. It's pretty hard to find wheels at 4x114.3. I've been looking for quite a few weeks now to replace the set of wheels that I got for this car. I've been looking for quite a while constantly for some wheels to replace what I have for this car, which will not fit. And it is excruciatingly difficult to find wheels in this bolt pattern. That plus, I think I kind of want to go for a Gundam theme for this car. Like, I don't know, paint it white, have a blue stripe on the bottom, red stripe on the top, yellow wing, yellow brakes, blue hood bling, like one of those little like sun deflectors that race cars have where they prevent the sun from reflecting back at you. Maybe paint the grille yellow and then have the Honda badge be red, like on the original RX-78. I don't know if I want to build it more for the RX-78 look or the Gundam XTO look. And yes, I am a weeb to that level. But yeah, either way, I have big plans for this little car. Big plans for the Mustang. Even big plans for my daily. And I'm getting there slowly. So again, next video is going to be the fuel pump rebuild. If you want to see that, hit subscribe. If you like this video, hit like. And do whatever else you do on YouTube. Have a good one, guys.